The destiny of Luke Skywalker has to be one of the most compelling mysteries of the new Star Wars films. An iconic hero that millions of us have grown up with, captivating our imaginations with X-Wing battles and decapitations. After many years, most of us gave up hope of ever seeing him again. And now, he's back, and has the potential to change the entire way we have seen Star Wars. I remember waiting in anticipation during The Force Awakens. He was off the poster, and fan theories were flying that he was the new villain. The entire film goes by, and finally, he arrives. Luke is alone, chilling on rocks, most likely eating those space biscuits Rey has. The ending was my favorite scene from the entire film. The brief moments we had were enough to completely engage me and rethink the entire direction Star Wars was heading in. After the events of Return of the Jedi, Luke starts another Jedi school. Apparently, things don't go too well. Poor Luke sucks so bad at teaching that his best friend's son betrays him and leads the entire school down the path of evil. Is he really that terrible of a teacher, or is there something else going on? We will get back to this. So, what are the Great Jedi? They first appeared in Knights of the Old Republic video game. Wielding the Force and not belonging to any organizations, they explore the paths of light and dark simultaneously. The earliest Great Jedi in Star Wars lore came about during the old Sith Wars. Members of the High Council used the war as an opportunity to consolidate power and expand influence to reinterpret the Jedi Code. The first Great Jedi refused to join the new council and found their own way, completely rethinking the old ways. There can be many types of Great Jedi. You just need to embrace the light and dark and refuse to follow orthodox religious code. But how can someone walk a path of light and dark? And how does Luke Skywalker fit in? Time to go deeper. Anakin was once thought to bring balance to the Force. It could be argued that killing all the Jedi brought a numerical balance between Jedi and Sith, but what if the balance means something much different? The greatest we have ever seen the Jedi was with the High Council in the prequels, and, dear viewer, I was not impressed. These are people that harness the sacred power of the universe, and for the most part they sit on high in their penthouses on Space Wall Street, too busy settling tax disputes rather than ending the scourge of slavery seen on countless planets. Anakin's mother rots away as a desert slave from Watto, while God knows how many other crimes against humanity are being committed by literal galactic criminal overlords. One could argue that the ultimate path of the Jedi is cold, callous, calculating, self-serving, and highly political. Ultimately, for all their super-awareness, they couldn't even sniff out the obvious evil corrupting the entire universal government that they were sworn to protect. Even Yoda had to live alone in a swamp for 50 years in order to gain a sense of humor. Not that the Sith are any better. By comparison to the Jedi, they are all heart and let their emotions blindly guide them. Anakin was ultimately seduced not because being evil is cool or feels good. He was in pain and following his wounded heart. He saw how pathetic and corrupt the High Council was and Padme was dying, so he found a new path. True, he was co-opted by the Emperor and manipulated, turning him into the tyrant we all know and love today, but his initial intentions for turning away were pure. It seems that following either side of the Force completely leads to an obsession with power, control, and distance from the living. Maybe the balance doesn't come from destruction, but from the adoption and understanding of both sides. Logic and emotion, heart and mind, the strengths of one can empower the weaknesses of the other. Maybe the chosen one was Luke all along. Maybe that's why he has been alone for so long, trying to understand why the old ways never worked. At the end of the Last Jedi trailer, Luke says, "I only know one truth. It is time for the Jedi to end." Luke may have realized the folly of trying to contain the Force completely to one side. He now has to embrace both paths alone. A new student has arrived, and together they could grow far more powerful than any Sith or Jedi ever has. A Jedi living in the balance of heart and mind. Maybe Rey will be able to reach out to Rilo on this path, and will combine forces. Maybe Luke Skywalker really will be the last Jedi. They will defeat the final Sith, and the Force will be in complete balance. Not controlled by power structures, but by individuals seeking a greater connection and knowledge with the universe. Is this what George and everyone planned all along? I doubt it. But many of the greatest artists have said that art comes from another realm, outside of themselves, which they tap into. Perhaps the creators of Star Wars are tapping into a galaxy far, far away and long ago. Each new creator unraveling a story greater than any one person can tell. The Force is all around us. It moves us, inspires us, grants us the ability to become something greater than ourselves.